Um, Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Sabrina Lim. Many of you already know Sab. She's a CrossFit Level 3 coach and co-owner of CrossFit Enduro in Singapore. And Phyllis is here with her, who is the owner as well. Something you may not know about Sabrina is that she's also a former chemistry teacher. And that background is quite fitting because Sabrina brings a thoughtful approach to everything she does. And that's exactly what she has helped build when it comes to nutrition. So today's webinar is not about running another short-term nutrition challenge that creates excitement for a short while and then the habits disappear. It's about building a sustainable system that can be repeated year after year while keeping members engaged and avoiding decision fatigue. It's real. So Sabrina will walk us through how CrossFit Enduro has evolved its nutrition challenges into a flexible, multi-tiered that allows members to participate at different levels depending on their goals, their lifestyle, and of course their readiness to commit, which, as you know, that is the linchpin at the end of the day. So this topic is particularly relevant. Food is life. And we all know nutrition is important, but coaches and gym owners often struggle to implement it in a way that is practical, engaging, and sustainable over the long term. As you listen today, I encourage off challenge and more about creating a nutrition ecosystem within your gym, one that continually educates and engages members at different stages of their journey. So with that, I will hand over to Sabrina now.
Okay, thanks, Maria. Let me just share my screen and then I'll get us started. Okay. Can you all see my slides? Yes, okay. All right, it's really good to see everybody here today. Thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to share our nutrition challenges through the years. And our nutrition challenge has been the main mode of nutrition education at CrossFit Enduro. Okay, and as I was preparing the slides, I realized that we actually have 15 years of challenges. And all kudos to Yuria, who founded Enduro in 2012. And right from the get-go, in year one, she started our annual nutrition challenge. I joined as a member in 2014, so I've been learning so much as a member throughout. And then now, Phyllis and I are making sure that it is still a mainstay of our program at Enduro. Okay, so my presentation today, I'll bring you through the evolution of our challenges and then distilled some lessons that we've learned, to sharing with you guys in hopes that you can apply them in your own gyms. And at the end, of course, we'll have the time for Q&A, and I'd like to also hear from you guys and what you do in your gyms. All right, so let's get started. If you look at this illustration, I hand drew it. This is how our challenges have evolved. Using the language of programming, it went from single modality, just nutrition, and then we diversified and made it into recovery as well as stress management, because we recognized that as we grew with our members, these things can't be ignored, right? Everything comes into play in our hormone and levels as well as metabolism. All right, so in the early years, as we all know, the famous fitness in 100 words, it actually starts with a nutrition prescription. Eat meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch and no sugar, as well as some quantity. Keep intake to levels that will support exercise but not body fat. So in our early years from 2012 to 2015, we followed the paleo diet, which is very closely aligned to this prescription. So we focused on our lean meats, ideally grass-fed if we could find it, fish, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds, and then we avoided grains, legumes, dairy, soy, and of course sugar and processed foods. So we actually had this poster. I remember looking at it. We had a hard copy poster in the gym. It was a good conversation starter, and it really explained the whole approach to CrossFit's nutrition. And then I still remember it was so opposed to what I was taught as a kid. Anybody remembers this pyramid? Okay, so the bottom was like, they told us 6 to 11 servings of these carbs as the base. Eat more of the bottom, eat less of the top. So that was a paradigm shift for me, looking at this poster opposed to what we were taught in school. So that was my very first foray into learning about nutrition. Okay, and then a lot of our members as well were really excited to jump on this to try something new. These are actual photos of what our members posted. There was a lot of cauliflower rice involved. And then also when we're eating out, if you're in Southeast Asia, the quintessential breakfast is kaya toast and eggs. So one of our members, Wani, swapped out the toast and doubled up on the eggs. Okay, so there was a huge improvement in our quality of food, and the results spoke for themselves. We had a pre-workout, pre-challenge WOD, as well as a post-challenge WOD, and then we saw increase in the deadlift numbers by an average of 20 pounds, which is pretty good, okay, and a weight loss average of 3.28 kilos. Yeah, so I think our members really learned a lot about the food quality during this period of time. Okay, and enter the zone. So in one of the years, Urea wanted to introduce some kind of measuring. So we know the zone diet, like in the CrossFit Level 1 course, it prescribes a ratio of 40% carbs, 30% protein, and 30% fat. So this balance of macronutrients was meant to keep our hormone levels in check, glucagon and insulin, so that there's no sudden spike, okay, which can wreak havoc in our metabolism. Okay, and then if we guided our members through how to find out their daily blocks using their lean body mass times 0.1, and then adjust based on their WOD performance and how they felt. So while quality is one thing, quantity came in to optimize performance, and the members who really dove into this did see improvements in their body composition as well as fitness. Yeah. Okay, and then in 2016, Urea did a customized approach. So she found that members who are vegetarian didn't really have much protein choices on the paleo diet. So then she worked with them one-to-one to make it more optimized while the rest of us continue those good habits, as well as introducing a community element. So I'll remember this fondly. We were in the box, we were cooking in the box. One of our members came, brought burners, and taught us how to make shakshuka. So that was really cool. Okay. And also later that year, we were in groups. We were given, I think, like $200 per team. And we went grocery shopping, went to one of our members' place to cook a meal from scratch. Okay, of course, abiding as closely as we could with the paleo guidelines, which culminated in a picnic at Botanic Gardens. So what I remember from this was I wasn't really good at in the kitchen, not really confident, but then seeing my teammates, like bringing us through making stuff from scratch and then learning the recipe in the box. It was a mastery experience. So this is something we see in the level 2, creating success for members so that it builds motivation and momentum. So that's what was my personal experience there, okay, which is really cool. And then in 2017, there was some buzz about this Whole30 challenge, which is an elimination diet. So focusing on whole foods as well, and then removing all the added stuff, the processed stuff, as well as alcohol, which is quite a big thing for some of our members. There is 2 phases to this challenge. The first 30 days was to stick with these foods that we could eat, eliminating all that is not in the list. And then after 30 days, once the body has reset to like a clean slate, we systematically introduced one by one these common food allergens to see how our body reacted. I wasn't very successful in eliminating like bread, but I did find out that dairy was making me very congested. Yeah, so I think all of us did find out something about our own system. And then what Yura did was also to encourage us to video ourselves while grocery shopping. So I dug out this video of her doing that. And we'll just have a look. I hope the audio works.
I'll give you the audio. We basically markets in Singapore, and we are looking at ingredients. I think there I'm telling them about these hormone-free, I think, and now we're walking towards vegetables and
Yes.
fruit.
Okay, thank you. Oh no, the audio didn't work. Okay. Yeah, she was showing us how she bought her hormone-free chicken. Um, So that got us started as well. And then I want to show you another example was Phyllis with her kids, Anna and Abel. Um, so I'll give you the audio. They are at a supermarket and Anna is reading labels to check for Whole30 compliant ingredients. Yeah. So, oops. So this was really good to see, involving our kids. And then Phyllis then later shared her reflections that it was very, very challenging. But I think because she was doing it with her kids, she was very compliant and she had a lot of success with this challenge. Found out a lot of things about her body. And then, although it wasn't an objective, she lost 2.6 kilos during the duration of the challenge. Okay, and in the next 2 years, 2018 and 2019, we embarked on the 800 grams challenge. So this was a bit to get our members to start weighing and measuring food again, but it was simplified because they didn't have to weigh and measure their protein and fats. And also, it was just focused on fruit and vegetables, so something that they added into their nutrition rather than to eliminate. So it was simpler in that sense. Just any fruit and vegetables, making sure that you hit 800 grams of that in a day. And an example from Yura as well, she made sure that she weighed everything in the morning so that she was set up for success in the day. Okay, and then some of our members sharing some dessert recipes, what they were eating. And if you're on the go, for example, one of our trainers, Carol, she would pack her veggies and fruits in the morning, making sure that she got like 300 or 400 grams already right at the start of breakfast. So this was one of the challenges that saw us feeling better quite quickly because of the increased amount of veggies and fruits. 800 grams is quite a lot. We didn't have much space in our stomachs left for anything else. No, just kidding. So it was pretty simple to focus on what we were eating in terms of veggies and fruits. And I think being whole foods, having a lot of micronutrients as well, this increased our quality over the course of the challenge. It was so good that we repeated it next year, but then with more nuance. So in the next year, we talked about maximizing diversity. Every week, for example, week 1, can you eat something purple every day? Week 2, something orange or red every day. Yeah, so we gave little nuggets of information and educated our members on not just macronutrients, but micronutrients as well. And also the magic of consistency. So little skills like that. It's better to be consistent every single day than to have a high on one day and then a low on another day. Right? So building in these skills in our members as well. Right, and then from 2020 to 2023, the next 4 years, saw a departure from only nutrition to focusing on lifestyle tweaks as well, because there was an increasing availability of the scientific research made known to us. Like if your sleep is not enough, your cortisol is too high, your body can hold on to body fat. All right, so what we did was a progressive week by week. Members can choose what they wanted to add in their lifestyle and what to eliminate. And if you notice, these are all behavior goals, meaning that within our members' control, rather than an outcome goal of, say, lose 10% body fat. Right? So if they just focused on these behavior goals every week, they tended to see some improvement. And then weeks 3 and 4 was more quantity. And then some of our members even started experimenting with intermittent fasting. Okay, and then during the time, we use social media to educate our members. For example, if you're familiar with the podcast Huberman Lab, like he talks about how blue light can mess with our circadian rhythm and it messes with our deep sleep and all that. So we introduce our members to these things as well. And you can also see some elements of previous challenges, like eliminating wheat. So it wasn't like a Whole30, like eliminate this whole list of food, but just something like wheat, and then see what reintroducing it to your body would do to it. Okay, from the 800 grams challenge, plant diversity, and then also some element of, if they wanted to, they could weigh their protein bare minimum requirements every day. Okay, and then we also gamified it by introducing a bingo sheet. So once members had already practiced some of the habits in the previous year, we gave them a bingo sheet and say, okay, choose a line, and then not necessarily something you might have chosen last year, but try to do it this year. For example, like practice mindfulness or revisiting 800 grams challenge. And this is a big one, like no screen time before bed. And these are still all behavior goals that we wanted them to practice. We also introduced a tracking sheet. So if you see here, the calendar was a really good motivator for not missing a day. But we also told them if they did miss a day because life happens, to just jump back on. So this gave them a very tangible tool to track their progress. At that time, I had also done my precision nutrition certification, and then what I found really handy was the hand tool, like based on your own hand size, how much protein, veggies, carbs, and fat to include. So members who just didn't have the time or resource to weigh their food on the go could use their hands as well. And then next year we continued this, and then we also taught them how to build habits. So the focus is really not just these 30 days, but how do you form these habits and then we continue them the rest of the year. Okay, and then for the next 2 years, because at that time we had a few or a group of new members who didn't necessarily have the chance to experience like just solely nutrition in the early years, and also as a reset for our existing members, we just focus on 3 pillars: adequate protein, veggies and fruit, and then reducing added sugar. So you can see this is still very aligned with CrossFit's recommendation. And then for the next year as well, something similar together with a tracking sheet. And these are examples of members' food posts. Pretty nice looking food, pretty compliant as well. But what was really a win was one of our newer members was really busy, usually ate out, but because of the challenge, she tried prepping her own meals and then she posted it. And then from there, she also gained that skill of being able to prep her meals on the weekends and then bringing it to lunch. Yep. And then examples of traveling but still eating well. And then the results spoke for themselves. We did see a lot of improvements in their strength and their Metcons. So of course we celebrated that as well. And then coming to this year, what we did was we had the CrossFit Open done in teams, and then it was really engaging for our members. So we decided to continue the nutrition challenge right in the wake of the CrossFit Open, continuing in these teams. And we brought back the bingo sheet. Okay, but with varying degrees of challenge for our members. For example, in the middle, commit to whole 30 challenges is the most challenging. But then something like just write a goal that you have for your fit training in the box. So different degrees of challenge for each of our members. And then all these small little boxes are in a bid to build habits, right? So they would track for 21 days, for example, or 10 days. And this was a really successful year because I think the team engagement increased in accountability, and also they wanted to contribute teams the points to their team. So for every square that say I do, I earn 10 points for my team. But as a team, if you complete one row or diagonal, or if you full black out the whole thing, you earn like another 50 points or 200 points. So there was a lot of buzz. Everybody liked it. They showed what they were doing. It's still up to them to choose the boxes, okay? But then as a team, they accumulated points. So then in the box, we had these hard copy bingo sheets. And then as people finished the box, they would write their names. So of course, the teams got very competitive, which added to the success as well. Okay, so that's 15 years worth of challenges. Now I'm going to share what we've learned. Okay, from the get-go, I think the most important thing is to start with why. Why are we doing nutrition challenges? Why do we need to educate our members on nutrition? So first and foremost, we know it is at the base of our CrossFit pyramid. It is the basis of all that we do. And if we're weak over here, then everything else above is going to be shaky. So I really love this video by Nicole Carroll where she talks about how if we neglect nutrition, we're only giving our members less than half of the efficiency of the efficacy of the CrossFit program. And she also mentions that like quality is good as a beginning, but then if you really want to optimize fitness, move the needle from wellness to fitness, you need to look at quantity as well. I've shared this link in the webinar notes already if you wanted to look at it. Okay, so we know our why, but we also need to know our members' why, because nutrition is such a personal thing. There's a lot of cultural meaning, social meaning. So different members have different relationships with food, and that's why it's very important for us to know where they start. Have conversations with them. What motivates them, or what are obstacles for them working on their nutrition? Just like how we scale their workouts, we also need to scale their nutrition, knowing their current capacities, finding a low-hanging fruit, something that's not too challenging that they feel demoralized or demotivated at the start. So what I talked about earlier, the mastery experiences, if you find something that is small enough and easy enough for them to do, they do it, they practice, and then they taste success early on, it builds momentum for further success and further skills. That being said, looking at across the years and our members, I've come up with like 6 general archetypes or types of members. Okay, so if you scan through these, I will go through them one by one, but if you scan through these, and as I'm sharing later, if you see, you can identify with any of them, or if you can see if your members fit into any of them. Now, take note, this is just a very generic, simplified model. Most of the time, people are a mixture of archetypes and what their motivations are. So the first one would be the performance-driven athlete. They want to see improved what results. So maybe they just want to be better at day-to-day workouts, or they're preparing for a competition, the CrossFit Open, their own sport. So what motivates them would be the pre and post workout tests, or of course the daily workouts as well. And they're more likely or willing to dive deep and stay compliant. So for these members, you could scale them up and say, okay, this is the zone diet. How do you calculate your blocks? Would you want to try measuring and weighing your food for a while and then seeing the performance changes? I remember we had one member who had an Excel sheet of every single meal that he had, and he was really compliant with the zone. And he did see an improvement in his muscle mass and fitness. So these members will also then become inspiring for other box members. Okay. The second one, the foodie. We have a lot of these in our box because Singapore is such a food mecca. You go to the food court, you'll see people lining up for like 20 minutes just to get the food that they want. So it's really challenging for them to say, oh, I'm not going to eat grains, I'm not going to eat my favorite croissant or alcohol, for example. So for them, you can show them that eating well is still possible, or eating out well is still possible. Chat with them to find out what's their individual hope. There must be something underlying that they want to work on. Or you could ask them a question, what is the cost of not working on your nutrition? Could be their health, could be how they're feeling, and so on. So like I mentioned earlier, find the low-hanging fruit, create mastery experiences, increasing their self-efficacy and focusing on the quality of food. So I'd like to show you a quote from one of our self-proclaimed foodies. She said she does what so that she can eat whatever she wants. But she said that this year's challenge helped her see that she can actually still be mindful of what she chooses to eat outside, and it's manageable to focus on protein and veg while eating out. So happy to see this. So that's a win. Yeah. Okay, for the third archetype would be people chasing aesthetics or improving their body recomposition. They want to reduce body fat, increase lean muscle mass to look better. So they're more willing to weigh and measure their food as well. And then what motivates them would be the body measurements before and after the challenge, okay, or photos. And then over time, they might find that feeling better, improving their fitness becomes a bigger motivator as well. So one of the members that we have, Big A, Aaron, we call him Big A, he's been really candid with his journey of nutrition. He wants to look better, but then he would improve some and then plateau and then fall off the bandwagon again. So this year he really shared, like, does he have body dysmorphia? Maybe. But this year, instead of just doing it for 30 days, he's still doing his own challenge right now of focusing on whole foods, and he wants to continue to the end of the year. And he's already seeing improvements in his gymnastics movements. Yeah. Okay, so the next type would be the people who are in it for longevity or the health markers, improve general health, be around for their kids, for example, Phyllis, being good role models for their loved ones. So these are the people who are really build good habits because it's a lifestyle for them, right? This was Phyllis's why, of why she did the whole 30, to change food habits, to find out what harms her body. She wants to be healthier. And the last one, the most important, to be a positive role model for her kids. And we do have a lot of these members in our gym as well. Another one, Vasant, he wants to be in the best health for his family and young daughter. And then Adeline, her health markers, she's been tracking ever since she joined CrossFit, they've improved, and then she wants to go one step further to improve her nutrition to make them sustained, improve. Yeah. Okay. And then we also have the newbie who just joined or just is joining the gym. The conversation about nutrition starts at the very first class. So, for example, at our fundamentals class, we teach them CrossFit's prescription for nutrition. We focus on basics, but also find out what they already know because there's so much information out there. Find out what their starting point is as well, and then we grow with them. And then lastly, the been there, done that. That group of people who have already been in the box for 10 over years, they've gone through the paleo, the Whole30. But now we saw in the past few years, the engagement level has come down. So I asked one of them, and then she shared that she already knows the basics, and the choices she makes every day are already based on this knowledge. So I guess that's a happy problem to have. It means that the habits are already there. But I also like to see them engaged in challenges, right, as a community. So we could consider making them engaged again by mentoring others or being team leads, and then maybe finding new motivators in their life, like do they have a newfound sport or any health updates? Because as we age, things in our body can change, and health markers could change as well. Right, so those are the 6 archetypes. Hopefully you could identify with one or some of them, and then can group your members into these archetypes as well to get the conversation started. Okay, the third learning point was the power of community. So like I shared, whenever we did things or when we did the challenge as a team, it increased the engagement and accountability because they were contributing to something bigger than themselves. But in doing that, they built good habits for their own lives. And so this is an example, like the buzz of the class, like, oh, which team is leading? I'm going to write my name today, and so on. Harness social media. So get members to share what they're eating on the go while traveling, what recipes they're making. By looking at what others are doing, it could motivate some of our members as well, okay, to start trying. Next one, vicarious experiences. So in the CrossFit Level 2, we learned about this one, which is learning from the success or journey of others. So we highlighted certain members who found that working on nutrition really improved their health. For example, Vasant, from April to September, he worked on cutting out sugar and paying more attention to protein, and he lost 15 kilos. So everybody in the box was like, well, Vasant, you're really doing good. And then we spotlighted his journey. That created a talking point for a lot of our members who were still contemplating whether to start. Okay, and another example was Jimmy, who had tried a lot of diets before, always struggled with his weight, but then in one of the years, by tracking all these habits, like I mentioned, the behavior goals, he saw that his weight was coming down. So these success stories are really, really good to share. Another one, Maxine, who's also in the call, 2024, she just decided, okay, she's going to take her nutrition in hand. She focused on whole foods, and I think it was to be a good role model for her 3 daughters. And then we saw improvements in her overall health, how she felt every day, as well as the workouts. And then, of course, Big A, he's been very open with sharing his journey as well, okay, losing body fat and gaining lean muscle. So pick these members from your community and highlight their success and journey. And lastly, we already do this in our CrossFit boxes, right? We celebrate progress. So at the end of every challenge, we identified who was most compliant, who increased their strength the most, who brought their watt times down by the most, right? And then, of course, as the whole whiteboard, seeing all the PRs is so good for like the program as well as for all our members to say like, hey, all the effort I've been putting in is coming to fruition. Yeah, so after challenges, we gave a shout out to the winners. And then after the challenge on a day-to-day basis as well, look out for, improvements in health markers, improvements in body measurements, and of course, watt time. So celebrate progress continually so that the conversation about nutrition doesn't just stop at the end of the 30 days of your challenge. Right, so I've come to almost the end. In conclusion, identify what motivates your members, how to scale them appropriately, and how ready, willing, and able are they to make the changes. So these are 3 different things you can ask them, like how ready are you to cut sugar out? It should be like a 9 or 10 out of 10, right? For them to to be able to stick with that behavior goal. If it is a lower than a 9, then make it one step smaller. Can you cut out sugar for just one meal a day, for example? So we scale them appropriately. Nutrition is an ongoing process. There's so many things we can learn about our body and make it habitual, not just during the month of the challenge. Okay, and harness community, as we have seen, it increases engagement and accountability. And then for us as coaches, our main role is to educate our members. So we have to keep up to date with research. For example, now we're seeing that fasting actually has different impacts on men and women. So we also have to educate our members as these things come to light. And then to make it observable, measurable, and repeatable, just like our CrossFit workouts, so the tracker sheets, the pre and post work test, body measurements. And lastly, lead by example, experiment yourself and share your own experiences. And then from there, you can coach in a more authentic way. And I've come to the end of my presentation. Thanks very much for listening. And I invite any questions and also sharing of how you've done any nutrition challenges in your gym. Thank you.
Sabrina, that was an excellent. There's a lot of information to go through as well. A lot. Team, how about some questions about how you can apply this at your gym, or maybe you do it already at your gym, but you're getting stuck, or to share?
Yes, Nishant.
Uh,
Hi,
Hi, Sabrina.
hi
Thank you so
Nishant.
much for the presentation. It was really nice and engaging. For all those who don't know me, I think there are a lot of here from Southeast Asia. I'm the owner of CrossFit Kali from India. I will also own an app named Kali Strength. It's a gym management and member engagement app. Now, Sabrina, my question to you is that it's been 5 years since CrossFit Kali has opened. We have not done a single nutrition challenge yet. So, according to you, in 2026, what will be the most relatable challenge for them?
Hmm. Um, I would say to focus on quality of food first and foremost, being your first challenge, getting members aware of whole versus processed foods, shopping at the perimeter of the supermarket. And then for those who wanted to try, you could educate them, introduce them, and guide them on weighing and measuring their food. But for those who are still just stepping in, using their hand as a measuring tool in terms of the quantification. So there's quality, there's quantity. And you might want to consider doing it as a team. It's not so scary, and then it's more engaging and it helps with accountability as well.
Okay. And could you send the game that you all played? I don't remember what is it called to
The
us.
bingo.
Uh,
Yeah.
the bingo, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
That would be really helpful. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other question? Well, notice in the comments, there is a PDF that we have put together for you.
Sabrina, your mic isn't working very well today.
Oh, no.
Not
Oh,
Sabrina, sorry, Yuria.
Yuria.
I can't hear you sometimes. Yeah.
Let me try that again. Can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yes.
Okay. So what I PDF in the comments, if you can, basically a summary of what Sabrina, that will be in there for you as well. And we can certainly share that too.
Okay. I don't know if it's just me or everyone else. Can everyone else tell if you can hear her?
It's on off. But I think what Yura is saying that the notes is in the chat link and you can pick it up from there.
I've also just shared our bingo card so you can see in more detail what the squares are, what the habits that we got our members to try this year was.
It's the very first bingo card that evolved over the years.
Hello, Sabrina and Yuria. Can you guys hear
Hi,
me?
Sam. Yeah. Hi, Sam.
Yes. Sorry about the non-video. I'm just at home, not wearing a shirt, so I don't want to scare everybody. So yeah, with this, thank you so much for the presentation. And it looks as though you guys go all in with your members, especially adding them into the kind of nutrition community. And it's great. We've tried this as well in the past. One question from me is, do you guys do one-to-one nutrition at all? Have you tried it? Does it work? Do you have any experience doing it?
Okay, thanks for the question. At the gym level, we haven't done anything one-to-one. It was more like informal chats with members who have questions. So we haven't done like a oh, journey with me for say 60 days, and then we work on something together. Although that has come up, I'm thinking next year we might do like a small group for the members who are already ready and willing to do more precise measuring with their food and tracking the fitness gains from there. Yeah. On my part,
Nice.
I've done some one-to-one nutrition coaching in the past, but that was separate from enduro.
I would like to
Okay,
add
great.
in here as well, Sam, that the reason why we didn't do a one-on-one from the very start is that we felt that education was part of everyone's education and we wanted to sort of squeeze them in that direction instead of making it exclusive, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, we tried the, well, we didn't try, we did. We did the group nutrition challenge and we did that over 12 weeks. And we did it based a lot more on the precision nutrition habit building. And we found that was great. Everybody was in a WhatsApp group. We did weekly seminars for the members, whether they came in person or they called in. And then after the 12 weeks, we had a few people ask for one-to-one also, which we didn't do it immediately, but now we're looking to run our nutrition course again in the next month. And alongside that, we're looking to do one-to-one on this as well, like a 30-minute call based on habit building, but more specific to the individual rather than to the group.
That makes sense.
So yeah, we'll let you know how it
Sorry.
goes.
Yeah, well, good luck with that, Sam. It's not so easy to keep people motivated, and as you can see from our journey as well, we start with one thing, get their feedback, and then tweak it slightly, and that's how it evolves over years. So we rather do that than give up on it, because it would be very easy to give up on the topic of nutrition, because people really don't want to think of that as part of the prescription, but you stay the course and you do what you need to do.
Yeah, definitely. And as you guys said, it's the base of the pyramid. And it's the thing that people do the most. They don't train a lot. I mean, they work a lot. They train for 1 hour a day. They work for a lot of hours a day, but they're eating most of the day, like 3 to 4 times per day. So if we can kind of attack that and help them with it, they've got, yeah, a better chance of being fitter, healthier, happier.
Couldn't agree more with you, Sam. Katie, what about you? Please go for it.
Thank you, Yuria. Thank you, Sabrina. That was super insightful. Question just around timelines. It's have 30 days always worked best? Have you tried something shorter or longer in terms of compliance, in terms of the amount of effort that the team needs to put in to run that challenge? I've recently moved to 6 weeks. I found that had a little more longer term compliance that worked instead of 4 weeks for us. So before we do our next one, I'm just wondering what that could look like. So if you've done some experimenting with that.
From what I can remember, it's always been a month, but I think one of the years was 6 weeks. Am I right, Yuria? Which
Early
one?
days. Early days was 6 weeks. We tried one for 6 weeks, and the decision fatigue and people just dropping off like flies, it didn't work. So we decided, okay, we do 4 weeks, and we changed it into habit formation more than anything else, Katie. So we doubled up instead of just cut this, but build a positive habit that links with that, which is very, to be honest, guided by precision nutrition guidelines.
Got it.
Carter, I
Thank
saw
you.
your Carter, did you have a question, sir?
Yeah, just hi, Carter here from CrossFit Coaching. Thanks for the presentation. It was great. Now we do last year we did way less, well, what we call the way less challenge. We did it for about 6 months running, I think 6 or 7 months. Very successful. Now my question is actually more about obviously we do the challenge, people get hyped up for that month, they do it, they're compliant, they do everything well. But human nature, once something is over, there's a big chance of them sort of, reverting back to the old ways or whatnot. How do you face, obviously we all face that, but I just want to sort of find out from you guys how would you tackle that, and how did you sort of try and ensure that people stay on path? Um, you know, because obviously when the challenge is on is easy, but the challenge is when it's over, whether people continue to sort of live that lifestyle.
Carter, Sabi, if I can jump in here and then you come in after me. Carter, I think it has a lot to do with, you are absolutely right. When we are doing the challenge together and going through it and suffering together, it's like a workout, right? We feel in sync and we stay on the course. It's easy. And then once we're done with that 4 weeks, what I find that is very convincing is that the leadership of the gym, your trainers, the owner, everyone still they stay the course. And when the rest of the crew see that the trainers and the owner of the gym are still doing what they're doing, eating whole foods, leading a quality life, they then start to see that, okay, this actually becomes the norm. This is how you lead your life instead of just doing a challenge. In addition, it makes us more believable too as the leaders of that gym, because people see us for what we are. Now, I'm not saying that we don't cheat and do this and do that, but if our lifestyle mainly focuses on whole foods, proper rest, and everything else, I think it becomes easier and it's inspirational for the other people to stay on track as well. Sab, how about you?
Yeah, if I could just add a point, it's like the more strict or rigid the rules of the challenge are, the more far away we can drop off. And that's why over the years, our guidelines and our coaching on nutrition has been what does fit into your life. Like, if you don't want to measure food, like who wants to bring a scale out? If you want to measure food, then don't use your hands. So something like that would make it already more sustainable from the get-go. And then during the challenge, it is then practicing that skill. And then after the challenge, it sort of becomes second nature. Like we can eyeball our food. We know that the majority of our plate should be good quality lean proteins and fiber and grains versus the processed food. And then we also didn't want our members to say like, oh no, I had a croissant today, I've been bad. So that makes a bad relationship with food. There is some leeway for enjoying your food. It shouldn't be a all or nothing, and it's getting them to learn with change that mindset as well. That majority of the time, I know that my nutrition is there, and we see that happen for a lot of our members as well, which is the last group that I talked about. They already have the basics, and we do see that their fitness is still maintaining. They're not dropping off to a large extent in that way.
But I also
Thank
need to
you.
add that that's year upon year iteration. It's not just a once in and, hope it's done after one challenge. It's reiterating the same message year after year. And they know every year there is a challenge and they start looking forward to it because we keep it not novel, but there's something for them to look forward to. And they know it's part of what we do. It's part of the identity of the gym, if that makes sense.
Okay. Just to add on to that, now with the frequency of the challenge, obviously dictate boredom, I guess, in a sense that because we did the same challenge sort of 6, 7 months running because of demand. Now, for those that did the challenge once or twice, I think the third time they kind of get a bit bored because it's the same thing that's being repeated. Now, I had a thought of, would it make sense to sort of, you have a level 1, level 2, level 3 kind of course whereby you have level 1, which is very basic introductory, that, about habit forming, what's good, what's not good. Then perhaps level 2, you go into tracking, weighing, and then, level 3 gets into really details of the types of sort of diets that you can look at, zone diet, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Has anyone here actually tried to implement something like that, more like a nutritional course rather than a challenge, to sort of build that? I guess the longer people do it, the higher chances they will stay on track for the foreseeable future.
Guys, is anyone running that as an educational piece at your gym, potentially, where you do an introduction and you simply introduce them to what is protein, carbohydrates, and fat, and then eventually the second layer and the third layer? Or do most of us do challenges?
Yeah, guys, sorry to speak again. As mentioned before, we did the 12-week nutrition like course for people. So it was a challenge for people as well to let's say get their basics down, like decrease body fat, increase awareness of what you're eating and so on. But week on week, we did do like, this is protein, this is carbohydrates, this is what fat is. And then the next week, you're going to start chewing your food a bit slower. This is how to do it. This is how to be more mindful when you eat food. And then over 12 weeks, we had a topic every week that we delivered on a Saturday. And I'd like to think it was more of a course rather than a challenge where people are just trying to lose weight as fast as possible or eat as much protein as possible. We tried to educate people on kind of the basic of habit stacking within precision nutrition, rather than doing a challenge. And it worked pretty well.
Thanks, Sam.
No worries, man.
Sam, I'm curious, what would your metric be? What you say it worked pretty well, and you base that on them sticking to the program or their feedback or their performance numbers? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so one thing, like a small metric that we used, which wasn't any, I mean, we used an in-body scanner. What else do we use? We use like water bottles. We had advised people to get water bottles that kind of tracked their water intake daily. But one thing that's very basic that we used on our WhatsApp group is every day we put out a message at the end of the day. We're like, hey guys, week 1 this week is, for instance, measuring your water intake. Please like this comment or add more details if you succeeded in 3 liters per day or if you found any challenges and so on. And we measured that for the 12 weeks, depending on how many people liked that message or how many people commented along with that. And because we had, I don't know, actually, I'm making numbers up, but maybe about 50 people in the WhatsApp group, we kind of measured the success over the 12 weeks as to how many people interacted with us on the WhatsApp group and on Saturdays as well when people came into the class.
Thanks for
I have a
sharing, Sam.
I have a very specific question. This is Borky from CrossFit Lacan. This is about people who recently we have clients who
बताताजा भनेको के अरे ओ
sorry. Yeah. We have what's this? Where was I? Yeah. We had the client who came in specifically with stage 2 diabetes and he's on GLP medication, right? So we always tell them to, regular members, we always tell them to eat properly, those things that we've said before. But now we've encountered this certain person who uses like GLP medication and we try to tell that person to eat properly and of course watch the quantity. And then at the same time, he said that he's not eating because of the GLP medication. So what do we say? How do we handle that? Like, has anyone encountered the same thing?
So, such an interesting question there, Boki. Anyone else experience that? Someone on that medication at the gym currently? All right, Boki, I'm going to go with that. And somebody
Yuria, 1 second.
Yes,
So in
Nishant?
India, how they are doing it is whenever someone's taking GLP, they are also going on with a package where they have the nutrition and everything given to them by the people, I mean, by the people who are providing the services, the GLP and everything. In India, it's mostly happening like that. I think we have one client who's using it, but she's doing it with them. So we don't really have to worry about her nutrition or anything. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Borky, and
I
what about your
see.
client? Do you know if she's getting assistance from a dietitian or not?
I don't think so because right now we're the ones tracking his diet. Like, send us a photo of your diet or what you eat each day, and please be honest about it so that we know that if you're on track or not. And we tell him like, please eat even though you don't have the appetite, because he's doing CrossFit now, so his lifestyle changed. He needs to eat more right now, I think.
Yeah, I hear you, Borky, especially since he's active. So usually how we would start this, the mainstay is usually meet the client where they're at. So asking those questions, who's giving you the guidelines? Can you share 3 days of a food log with me? And building that trust between you and the person, so that they will share that information with you. Once you have that information in hand, then from there, sorry guys, truck coming past. Once you have that food log in hand, now you have data that you can work with, and now you have questions that you can ask the person. Okay, let's look at this meal. It seems like you consistently undereat breakfast. Tell me more. How's that working out for you? And the idea here is to start the conversation with the person so that they share more information with you, and then slowly but surely you start getting them to go in the direction that you know will suit them best. But this can be something that takes place over a number of weeks, Borky, or it can be something that happens within a week. You just don't know who you're dealing with. But that's what I mean by meet them where they're at, open that conversation, have a dialogue with them, and so that they trust you and come back to you if anything feels, yes, it's going well, or no, it's not going well. Does that make sense?
Yes, thanks.
And then, Borky, with this client in particular, once you have insights and you feel that they're moving in the right direction, of course, this is something that can be shared with the rest of the community with us now, coaches, right? To sort of give us of course, we don't say the person's name, but the experience and how you dealt with it and what the outcome was. All of us can benefit from that lesson you guys learned out there in the Philippines.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, I will document this surely.
Yuria,
Thanks.
if I can just jump in. Yeah, with that question, what came to mind was for members who are already working with a medical service provider to know their background before they embark on any dietary changes, especially for people with like diabetes. And then another group of people would be if you notice like eating disorders starting to happen, that is not within our scope of practice, and therefore we have to refer out to a professional. Just be mindful of that as well.
Yes,
And
sure.
this sort of reminds me of the point that we really need to educate ourselves on nutrition as well, guys. And I'm not talking about being educated via social media. I mean us signing up for nutrition courses, whether it's the CrossFit Nutrition online course or my firm favorite Precision Nutrition 1 and Level 2. And from there, sort of practice on yourself and your closest friends, the people who are most forgiving, and then from there, bring it out to the members of the gym. But yes, I agree. And once again, it comes back to knowing the people that you are dealing with. If you see that you are dealing with a female with not disordered eating, but a food disorder, there's a big difference between those two. You need to be very mindful how you guide her. Because if you guide her towards intermittent fasting, you're just creating another issue there, for example. So always check in with your people. It doesn't stop. It's not just prescription and then walk away. You need to check in. It's like coaching a class on the floor for an hour. We're not just going to tell you, okay, do this and then walk away. We need to check in and make sure that it's happening. Anything to add there? Anyone else? Sabrina, if we want people to remember one thing after your presentation here, 6 months from now, what is that?
Ooh. Get to know your members well in terms of where they stand with their nutrition and the relationship with food. It's really scale them appropriately so they form a better relationship with food and their diets. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, everyone else. We are close to the hour. What we will do is we will share the recording to this video as well once it's been edited a little bit in terms of length. And that could be a resource for you, or at least a starting point for you to start digging into nutrition a little bit more. Don't give up. If people start telling you, no, I don't want to do this. No, let's not do this. This is hard. CrossFit's hard. Nutrition's hard. Find ways to scale it appropriately, and let's get people on this journey. Final reminder, CrossFit is more than constantly varied functional movements executed at high intensity. That's one leg. The other leg is eat meat, vegetables, nuts and seed, some fruit, little starch, no sugar. I say it again, no sugar. Thank you for your time, guys. Hope to see you again. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank
See you.
you.
Thank
Did
you
you get a
so
photo,
much.
Yuria?
Thank you, guys.
Oh, do you want a photo? Of course. I forgot. Stand by, stand by. If you are willing to open your screen, guys, so we can see your face. Let me get a photo here. Stand by. 3, 2, 1. I'll get Raz's comment in there. Yes. Let me see if there's another screen. We had 25 people on here. It doesn't look like 20. Oh, it could be. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the reminder, Sab.
Thank you,
Thank you
Yuria.
all.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
And thank you
Thank
for sharing.
you. Bye.
Thank you. See you. Well done, Sab. Fantastic
Thank you.
presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Your preparation showed clearly.
There was a wealth of information and knowledge there already.
What we will do is we will share the recording once it's been edited, and then I will share that with you too, okay?
Okay, thank you. Bye. Bye,
Alrighty,
Padma.
guys. See you.
See ya.
Bye.